Well, howdy. It's October 18th, 2019. It's a Friday, beautiful Friday in Southern California. Um, Journal number 199 and T plus 199. It's kind of nuts when I think about the fact that this is 200 days out from the transplant. And just thought I would reinforce a statement of gratitude for the opportunity to be here and be with the people I love and doing things that I love to do. And I think that's something that all of us can take to heart, perhaps, and should. I had two calls this morning. I'm a little um, up in the air because they were incredibly good calls. They were satisfying in a lot of different ways, and they were exciting in a lot of other ways. One was a friend and colleague discussing, you know, potential projects that we could do um, conjunctively that we could integrate into our own different business models. Seems so strange talking about business models at this point in my life, but it's what I'm doing, so I might as well discuss it, right? And the potential there is exciting, more than anything else. I mean, more than any kind of financial reward, which would be minimal. I think it would be the opportunity to do things that I love to do with people I love to do them with, and for people uh, that I love. So that would be exciting, and it would be in addition to the blog post, to this. The second call was with my editor and friend, good friend, uh, Frederick Haugen, about the webpage and next steps and marketing Misfire, what to do when things aren't running on all cylinders, and how to market that more intelligently to reach the greatest number of people, and you know what the best way to do that is, especially with large numbers of people whose names and email addresses appear on lists, focused focused lists, so that you can reach people either psychographically or demographically, and address their lives and the possible solutions that you may have for problems that they're facing, challenges that they're facing, obstacles that they're facing. So those calls went especially well. And part of the second call was prepping for two different interviews that I'll be having next week and the week after with podcasters. And I've had a couple of interviews with one podcaster, but that was different because the podcaster was a friend. And when you have a podcast interview with a friend, it's more like, you know, conversation. I mean, it really is. It's just two people that know each other for a very long time and have many things in common, discussing those things they share in common, and life in general. This is a little bit different, and consequently, when you're dealing with something as important, when you're dealing with something that is important, in this case, something as important as the book is, and sharing its message is, to me, um, you prepare. And you prepare in a lot of different ways. I mean, one of the ways that you prepare is by listening to the podcast interviews they've done with other people, so you know what to expect, so you're not blindsided and you're caught with your guard down. I don't like to approach any situation without having some um, sense of what's coming. It's part of my commitment to situational awareness. Um, and in doing that, I started formulating some interview questions that came up during the interviews that I was watching. And they're fascinating. And the thought occurred to me that this idea of an interview has got real potential in helping us master our current reality. And if not master it, then certainly understand it. Um, and what do I mean by that? I mean, you know, what would you answer if somebody turned around and in a controlled environment said, you know, what is the most effective tool that you've discovered or developed or embraced over the years to help you successfully navigate what's become a more complicated, an increasingly complicated world? I mean, what would you say? What would that tool be? What do you use to do that? What is your coping mechanism? Um, what would you have to say about your life? You know, your business, your relationships in general. Um, what would you? What's the greatest challenge that you face right now in life, in a relationship? What you know that your business faces, and what are you doing about it? Are you doing anything about it, or are you just waiting until you know a solution materializes on its own? And how likely is that to happen? Um, is what you're doing working? And if it's not, why are you still doing it? I mean, what would an accomplished interviewer ask you about your life? And have you thought about answers to those questions? Someone else, a mentor, an advisor, a friend, a teacher. Um, what kind of questions would you ask them about their lives and how they got to be who they are and how they got to be where they are? And why couldn't you ask yourself those same questions? Wouldn't that be an incredible exercise in self-awareness? And then ultimately, how could you turn that information into something that would benefit you, that would make your life better, that would enrich your life somehow? Um, it could be something as simple as what's your morning ritual and why? Um, and how does it help you get through the day? These are all things that I think are you know, they would fascinate us if there were questions being asked someone else. And I'm sure that if we were voyeurs, if we were listening to these interviews, and probably a lot of you are listening to podcasts where some of the very same things are happening, and you're trying to pick stuff out of these interviews to use in your own life. Um, wouldn't it be an interesting exercise to interview yourself, or at least to write down these questions or questions like these, and then answer them and figure out what your answers might be, and to embrace the things that are working and to discard the things that aren't? Uh, have you ever evaluated your current reality? Have you thought about where you are and what you're doing in relation to where you'd like to be, what you'd like to be doing? Have you even thought about what that is? I mean, in all honesty, I have to tell you that for a while, longer than I was comfortable with, I wasn't thinking about the future. I mean, for me, the future was really finite. Um, before we were accepted into the transplant program and before we were aware of the fact that I could be moving towards treatment, or more importantly, towards a cure, um, you know, with a median life expectancy or morbidity rate of 7 years post diagnosis, I was getting close to the number. And now that I realize that there's more, thinking about the future has become, almost a full-time occupation. It's really, I would share this and then I'll say good evening, good afternoon. One of the podcasts is Mastering Midlife, and how you reinvent yourself. And I decided that at 73, if that's mastering midlife, then I'm in good shape because I got another 70 years to go. So I'll leave you with that thought. In the meantime, stay well, take care. Thanks for spending these couple of minutes with me. Bye bye.